basically camera practice. See, Jules had only been shooting for a few weeks. Before that, Gideon was the main cameraman.
Every time the battalion goes, I go. You know, I just need to practice, so I shoot. And I don't stop.
We checked the area with meters, and it was kind of routine.
It was 8:46 in the morning. That's when this stopped even resembling a normal day.
Right then and there, I knew that this was going to be the worst day of my life as a firefighter.
Go to the trade center.
Immediately, I knew this was an accident.
Oh my God. That looked like a direct attack.
Chief Pfeiffer made the first official report.
We have a number of floors on fire. It looked like the plane was aiming towards the building. Transmit a third alarm. We'll have the staging area at Vesey and West Street.
It was probably a 2-minute ride, but it seemed like it was forever because there was a lot of things going through your head.
Everyone who was passing was looking up. It's like the world just stopped.
We are just currently getting a look at the World Trade Center. We have something that has happened here. Flame and an awful lot of smoke from one of the towers. Whatever has occurred has just occurred within minutes, and we are trying to determine exactly what that is.
As we swung around in front of World Trade, my mind tells me, wow, this is bad. What do we do? What do we do for this?
We parked right under the awning of One World Trade Center. Chief Pfeiffer puts his gear on, and I remember asking him, you know, Chief, can I come in with you? I want to come in with you. And he says, yep.
Yeah, you stay with me.
Come in with me, and never leave my side. I go in, and I hear screams, and right to my right, there was 2 people on fire, burning. I just didn't want to film that. It was like, no one should see this.
Pfeiffer was the first chief into the building. Right away, a guy from the Port Authority told him the damage was somewhere above the 78th floor. But all you had to do was look around. It was obvious. Something had happened right there in the lobby.
You just saw that all the windows were blown out. The lobby looked like the plane hit the lobby.
Later, they figure out that flaming jet fuel had shot straight down the elevator shaft.
All of this damage was done already. People was all over the place. So you knew it was going to be worse when we got upstairs.
Flames are shooting out. Smoke is pouring out.
I want you to get an engine and keep up. Get it outside line, walk to 7. Okay, I want you to go any higher than 70. What's going on? 78.
My main concern was we had 20 floors of people above. And we had to figure out a way to get them out. As it turned out, we had no usable elevators.
With the elevators out, there was only one way to get up there. Walk.
Companies come in. You see them with a concerned look on their face. And they're sent up.
A firefighter in full gear, carrying 60-something pounds of hose and equipment. Takes about a minute to climb one flight of stairs. These guys were looking at 80 stories just to get there. Then they'd start working.
I felt the mood that we were going to put the fire out. Everyone seemed to be confident. I know I was. You basically looked at it and said, okay, we got 10, 20 stories of fire. You know, we'll deal with it. We'll get up there. You know, we'll get to it.
There are fire crews just screaming into this area from every conceivable direction.
By this time, some of the top chiefs in the department had joined Chief Pfeiffer, running the command post, sending guys upstairs.
Every time I looked around, just new faces. Some that I recognized. I had seen Chief Parte, great guy, white hair, mustache, the perfect grandfather that you'd like to have. Remember seeing Lieutenant Fody, who was working with 9 engines. Said hello and then started going up.
Another of the men who went up was Lieutenant Kevin Pfeiffer. He was in charge of Engine 33, and he was the chief's brother.
I just remember we both looked at each other, said a few words, but it was more the look with a real concern that this was going to be something tough.
It's going to be a tough job. It's going to be a long job. They'll put it out. That's what they do.
The last time Jules had seen his brother was an hour ago, at the firehouse. As far as Jules knew, Gideon had followed Tony, the probie, into the tower.
When we had left for the odor of gas in the street, for me, it was in the engine. And then when we arrived to the trade center, he went up immediately with the guys. So for me, my brother is going up the stairs.
It turns out, Gideon was with Tony.
Engine 7, ladder 1. This is firefighter Renatata.
But Tony was still at the firehouse.
No, I was off duty.
And now he'd been ordered to stay there.
Everybody's been recalled. All available units must come back to the firehouse.
While Tony tried to keep up with the phone,
This is firefighter Renatata.
Gideon took his camera and started walking down towards the trade center. He was sure his brother was inside, and he wanted to get to him.
I remember slowly walking down to the World Trade Center. What really sticks in my mind is passing by people and filming them and filming their astonishment. And the eyes saying, this is not happening. I remember tilting the camera back and forth between the people and the towers in front of me.
Both towers of the World Trade Center have been hit by aircraft. Both are in flames.
There is black smoke coming from both of the towers. It's a horrific scene here. There's debris flying through the air.
Mayday.
There were two planes. I saw the second one hit. It hit the other tower.
All we knew was that a second plane hit, and we had a lot of people trapped.
Stay together. Stay together. You know what's going on. We're going to have to walk in. Nowhere to go. Second plane is with motherfuckers. All right.
Now the Chiefs would have to set up a whole other operation over in Tower 2.
Wait, no, he's running. I'm going to send him up. I get to a chief.
When the second plane hit, that's when you could see fear.
Both of them are on fire.
You could see it in everybody's eyes.
Tell your co-workers
There were people from all over the world in this street. Different colors, different languages. On those few blocks between the firehouse and the World Trade Center, the entire world was there.
There were two aircraft. The first one on one World Trade Center. The second one just happened.
And they were all looking at the same thing and talking about the same thing and reacting the same way.
You saw a plane went straight into the plane. Went straight into the building. Right there into the plane. Yeah, I'll be the plane. Yeah. That was a direct hit. Huge one. That's what there were two planes. Yeah. There's two. One of these buildings. Yeah, I saw the last one. We heard boom in the whole field.
What are those people going to do?
On the second one.
All the elevators are blocked out.
Yeah.
Well, the staircases must still be, right?
Stairs were crowded. People were coming down burnt.
Upstairs in Tower 1, the guys from my firehouse were now 10 floors up and climbing.
If we did talk, it was to the people coming down, trying to comfort them, tell them it's all right, get out, stay calm.
I wound up finding a woman in the C staircase. Her arms were all burned. She was just sitting there, basically in shock. So I picked her up under her arms, and I put her in with a group of guys, and I asked the group of guys to, take it down.
I knew we had to get up to help people. We had to get up there.
People pretty much said, why are y'all going up there? Get out.
Their concern was to get everybody out. That was the key. As much people out as possible.
Most of the people in Tower 1 came out on the mezzanine above the lobby. Then they'd get out through another building.
All right, I want to use the lobby of 7 as a triad.
The Chiefs didn't want anyone going through the lobby doors. First, it was because debris was falling outside. Then, it was people falling.
You don't see it, but you know where it is. And you know that every time you hear that crashing sound, it's a life, which is extinguished. It's not something you could get used to. And the sound was so loud.
I just remember looking up, thinking, how bad is it up there that the better option is to jump?
Reports of a plane hijacking before these crashes we're telling you about at the World Trade Center towers this morning.
Pieces of the building and the planes actually landed blocks away. Gideon was walking with his camera when he found a chunk of the plane engine that had crashed completely through Tower 2.
Hope you take the stuff over. Get this stuff in there. No, you don't take it. All right, just get out of here.
That was as close as Gideon would get to the Trade Center, without a firefighter anyway.
So I decided that the smartest thing to do was to slowly walk back to the firehouse and find a way to go to Jules.
We're just getting word now. One of the two planes was hijacked after takeoff from Boston. This is
two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
We now have reports of a fire at the Pentagon. A fire at the Pentagon being reported this morning.
I was just saying that officials are calling this an act of terrorism. They're saying that's clearly what it is, clearly not an accident.
Arriving back at the firehouse, and Tony is still alone, and he has no clue of what to do.
The plume of smoke is
Pentagon's on fucking fire. War. This is war.
And just by listening to him, freaking out and swearing and behaving like I've never seen him behaving, Tony was expressing what we all felt. At that point, I saw the fireman in him taking over.
I can't believe the fucking Pentagon. Somebody has balls.
I mean, a few times he was just pulling his gear and about to rush to the door, and realizing that he was the only one in charge of this empty firehouse, and going back to the house watch and looking again at those pictures on TV, and just to make sure that it was real.
We have these two enormous explosions at the World Trade Center.
Tony just wanted to go there.
In the lobby, the chiefs were trying to run the largest rescue operation any of them had ever seen. With next to no information coming in from outside.
You got a phone that's working?
I think the entire world knew more than we did. Everybody had seen the attacks. Everybody had seen the tower burning.
De New York, un avion s'est encastré dans une des deux.
Had seen the Pentagon. For us, we didn't have a clue of what was going on outside our lobby. Just like a beehive, that place. Everybody's working on the phone, everybody's working on the radio. Everybody's getting information, sending guys up, getting reports. And just trying to get this thing under control.
At one point, there was even a rumor. A third plane was heading in. You got to remember, at that moment, anything seemed possible.
Port Authority, police, and the military. And I need that done now.
On top of everything else, just talking to the guys in the stairwells was tough. The tower's internal communication setup had been knocked out by the crash. That left fire department radio.
Telling me you have hundreds and hundreds of firefighters that have radios. It seems to become more and more difficult.
OEM-1 to base. Thanks for riding again with your
There's one guy in the WTC who was trying frantically to reach anyone on the elevator.
59 car. Anyone in this car? Oh, is there anyone in this car?
And going through the list,
Hello, is there anyone in this car?
and there's about 98 elevators in the World Trade Center. In the middle of all this, suddenly an elevator opens up. And you see people not having a clue of what's going on. Because they've been stuck in there since the first plane hit. I was seeing the look on the firefighters. It was not fear, it was what's going on. Disbelief. That made me panic a little bit. That made me panic. It was the first time I had seen Father Judge, the chaplain, as he's called.
He was in the lobby with us, and I could tell that he was praying. You know, Father Judd, he would at least make eye contact with you and kind of give you a reassuring look. That wasn't occurring, almost like he knew that this was not good.
At the firehouse, off-duty guys were starting to show up.
You know, we're just waiting right now. What's that? We're just waiting right now.
Tony was, he just had one thing in his mind.
This is bad.
To go there. And he couldn't.
2 foot alarms right away.
And that's when Chief Burns arrived.
I need a cup of coffee.
Larry Burns joined the fire department in 1957, retired a battalion chief 3 years ago.
I couldn't wait. I had to get down there. Because you know what? They're my firefighters. It's my building. It's my city.
Leave your gear all together, get a flashlight, and a bottle of water.
Okay. Tell the probie, get your gear, let's go.
I remember Tony asking me to bring him some gloves, medical gloves.
Grab a box of gloves. Go grab a box of gloves.
And by the time I found them and rushed back, they were gone.
The probie and the retired chief were lost in the crowd, headed down to the trade center.
I think at that point, the lobby was pretty empty. There were just a few of us in the lobby, and we were discussing tactics.
This is Tower 1. Tower 1. Put a big 1 here.
Some of the outlying companies didn't know what Tower 1 was and Tower 2. So we were just trying to help them out by writing it on the desk to make it obvious to people.
It was just before 10 o'clock. A little over an hour since the first plane hit. Firefighters from all over the city were inside those towers. Hundreds of them.
You remember I'm filming Chief Pfeiffer, and he's on the radio.
A situation that started bad just gets worse and worse and worse. The World Trade Center, South Tower, which was hit by a plane and wrecked by an explosion approximately an hour ago, has totally collapsed.
What happened?
If you're just joining us this morning, you're in for a horrific surprise.
The scene here is just one right out of one of the movies you would see in Hollywood. People walking around with cell phones in tears, holding their heads, looking up at what's left of the World Trade Center and just shaking their heads in disbelief.
Out on the street, everyone knew what just happened. The South Tower was gone. They saw it collapse and ran.
I waited. Time slowed down and everything became pitch black.
Everybody all right? Yeah, I'm okay. How's the way out of here?
And then realized, okay, I'm not dead.
Yeah, right here.
So let's turn on my floodlight on top of my camera.
All right, come on down this way. Yeah, let's get out the way we came in.
Inside the Trade Center, all Jules and Chief Pfeiffer knew,
Yeah, right here.
all anyone knew, was that something had gone terribly wrong.
All right? No, come in.
They asked me, you with the light, help us out.
We gotta get everybody out.
Which was pointing my light wherever they needed.
Right here.
I remember seeing Chief Pfeiffer.
Command post in Tower 1. All units. Evacuate the building. Command post to all units.
He gave it right away, very calm, didn't wait. And it was for him, it was a precaution. It was, okay, something wrong is happening. Let's get everybody out.
From the tone of his voice, I knew that it was no normal thing. I knew it was time to leave. I remember saying to the guys, well, we're on our own now. And for the first time, I looked and